Mazda fans have been waiting years for a real breakthrough, something big enough to prove the brand still has a future in combustion engines, hybrids, and performance-focused SUVs. That breakthrough was supposed to be Skyactiv-Z, Mazda's next-generation engine technology paired with the brand's all-new in-house hybrid system and introduced in the next chapter of the Mazda CX-5 story. But now Mazda has officially slowed things down, and that's why so many people are asking the same question right now. What happened? Why has Mazda delayed Skyactiv-Z? Why isn't the new hybrid CX-5 arriving sooner? And does this mean Mazda is falling behind Toyota, Honda, Hyundai, and everyone else racing into electrification? The short answer is no, Mazda isn't giving up. But it is taking a risk. Because Skyactiv-Z isn't just another engine update. It may be the last major combustion engine Mazda ever develops, and the company clearly believes it has to get this one absolutely right. What is Skyactiv-Z? Skyactiv-Z is Mazda's next major powertrain project, and on paper, it sounds like the most ambitious engine the company has ever attempted. Mazda has already built a reputation around unconventional combustion technology. First came Skyactiv-G, then Skyactiv-D, and later the technically fascinating Skyactiv-X, which used spark-controlled compression ignition, or SPCCI, to chase diesel-like efficiency from a gasoline engine. Skyactiv-Z is supposed to take that idea even further. Mazda has described it as a new generation combustion engine designed around ultra-efficient Lambda-1 combustion, tighter emissions control, and seamless integration with hybrid systems. In plain English, the goal is simple. Build an engine that can deliver better fuel economy, lower emissions, and strong real-world drivability without turning the CX-5 into a numb appliance-like crossover. And that matters because Mazda has spent years building its brand around the idea that even everyday vehicles should feel engaging to drive. Philosophy, the sense of connection between car and driver, is something Mazda talks about constantly. Skyactiv-Z is supposed to preserve that, while also meeting the brutal emissions and efficiency demands of the late 2020s. In other words, Skyactiv-Z is Mazda's bridge between traditional combustion and the electrified future. So, why is it delayed? This is where the story gets interesting. Mazda confirmed in 2025 that Skyactiv-Z would debut in the CX-5 with Mazda's own in-house hybrid system in 2027. More recent reporting and executive comments now make it clear that the technology isn't arriving as quickly as many expected, and that the rollout is being staged more carefully than fans hoped. The biggest reason is simple. Skyactiv-Z is far more complicated than a normal engine update. 1. Mazda is trying to fix what Skyactiv-X never fully solved. Skyactiv-X was brilliant in theory, but it never became the game. Changing global success Mazda probably wanted. The engine's SPCCI combustion strategy was clever, but it also proved difficult to optimize across different real-world conditions, fuel qualities, and driving habits. The promise was huge. The payoff was more mixed. That experience clearly shaped Mazda's approach to Skyactiv-Z. This new engine has to work not just in Japan, Europe, and North America, but across a wide range of climates, emission standards, and fuel conditions. It has to be cleaner, smoother, and more reliable than Skyactiv-X. And if it's going to be Mazda's long-term combustion answer, it can't be a niche engineering flex. It has to work everywhere. That alone adds years of validation, calibration, and durability testing. 2. Hybrid integration is harder than it sounds. Skyactiv-Z is not being developed as a standalone engine. It's being engineered to sit at the center of Mazda's first in-house hybrid system for the CX-5. That changes everything. Mazda already sells hybrids in some markets, but not all of them use Mazda-developed systems. The CX-5 hybrid, for example, uses Toyota-based hybrid tech. The future CX-5 hybrid is different. Mazda wants its own setup, one tuned around its own throttle response, its own driving character, and its own packaging strategy. Motor One recently reported that Mazda tested rival hybrid systems and came away unhappy with their throttle response and overall feel. which helps explain why the company is insisting on building its own solution for the CX-5. That sounds exciting, but it also creates a major engineering headache. Now, Mazda isn't just developing a new combustion engine. It's developing a new combustion engine and a new hybrid system that must work together flawlessly. The calibration between the gas engine, electric motor, battery management, regenerative braking, transmission behavior, and driver response all has to feel natural. That's a huge challenge for any automaker, and Mazda is doing it with a much smaller budget than Toyota or Hyundai. Mazda has to split its money between ICE, hybrids, and EVs. This is one of the biggest reasons for the slower timeline. Mazda is a relatively small automaker, and that means every major R&D decision matters more. The company is trying to fund multiple futures at the same time. Skyactiv-Z and next-gen combustion development, Mazda's own hybrid systems, new EV platforms expected later this decade, battery and software investment, and advanced safety systems. That's a massive workload for a company Mazda's size. It can't spend like Toyota, GM, or Volkswagen. So, instead of rushing everything at once, Mazda appears to be sequencing its investments more carefully. The result is a slower launch for Skyactiv-Z, but a better chance of getting it right. Emissions rules keep getting tougher, too. Skyactiv-Z isn't being built for 2025. It's being built for the second half of the decade, when standards will be even stricter. Mazda has already said the engine is being designed to comply with Euro 7 and LEV4 Tier 4 standards. If Mazda launches too early with the wrong architecture, it risks spending a fortune on a powertrain that could need another major redesign almost immediately. Delaying the engine may actually be the smarter move, buying time to make Skyactiv-Z more efficient, cleaner, and more future-proof. What does this mean for the 2027 Mazda CX-5? Some fans assumed the entire redesigned CX-5 had been delayed, but that's not exactly true. Mazda has already unveiled and begun launching the third-generation CX-5, with Europe seeing the new model first and other markets following. The real delay is not the CX-5 redesign itself. The delay is the full electrified version Mazda really wants to headline, the CX-5 powered by Skyactiv-Z and Mazda's in-house hybrid system. That means the CX-5 rollout now looks more like a two-phase strategy. Phase 1. The new generation CX-5 arrives with familiar powertrains using updated existing technology rather than the full Skyactiv-Z setup. That gives Mazda a way to get the new body, interior, and updated tech into showrooms without waiting for Skyactiv-Z to be production ready. Phase 2. Toward late 2027, Mazda plans to launch the version enthusiasts have been waiting for, the CX-5 hybrid powered by Skyactiv-Z plus Mazda's own hybrid system. That model could fundamentally change how people see the CX-5, especially if Mazda can deliver. Final verdict. Mazda's delay of Skyactiv-Z is frustrating, but it doesn't look like panic or failure. It looks like a company making one last serious attempt to prove that combustion technology still has room to evolve, especially when paired with hybrid power. The CX-5 is Mazda's global bestseller. Skyactiv-Z is arguably Mazda's most important engine project in years. Put those together, and this isn't just another product delay. It's a major test of Mazda's future. If Mazda gets it right, the 2027 Mazda CX-5 hybrid could become one of the most important vehicles the brand has ever built. Cleaner, more efficient, and still genuinely enjoyable to drive. If Mazda gets it wrong, it risks arriving late to a market that may no longer wait. So, yes, Mazda fans are still waiting, but Mazda is betting that when Skyactiv-Z finally arrives, it won't just be worth the delay. It'll be the engine that proves the company still knows how to do things its own way.